Hi guys, this is gsn.com and I'm here with a review of the Samsung Galaxy S10 5G. We've already tested the Galaxy S10, Galaxy S10 Plus and Galaxy S10e, and the Galaxy S10 5G reached our parts later on account of, well, the launch of 5G services in the area. We're in Eastern Europe, Romania, and it's time to see what this handset can do, including in a 5G test. So the price tag. It should be pretty high. It should be around $1,200 in most parts of the world. I know it's been selling in South Korea, and it should also be available in parts of the West. I'm pretty sure you can also find it in USA by now. So it's basically a larger version of the Galaxy S10 Plus with an extra camera at the back and with 5G connectivity. It's available in new colors like Crown Silver. There is also Majestic Black and Royal Gold. Now let's start with the design. Obviously it's still made of glass and metal, glass at the back, glass at the front, gently curved on the sides, and a metal frame in between. It's a pretty grippy frame. It allows you to grip the phone properly, even though it has a bigger screen compared to the S10 Plus. It's 7.9 millimeters thick, it weighs 198 grams, which means it's about 20 grams lighter than the iPhone 11 Pro Max. I would say it's rather comfy considering its size, and I consider this notch here to be ugly. This dual camera notch, the new dual camera cutout, is uglier than the one of the Galaxy S10 Plus because it's wider and it overlaps on some of the options in your video games. Otherwise, IP68 certified, dust and waterproof, and a pretty premium and solid build. And once again, the grip is okay, while the backside draws a lot of fingerprints and grease. We move on from the design to the display. This one is a 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED panel with an 89% screen-to-body ratio and a resolution of 3040 over 1440 pixels. Also, it has HDR10 Plus support. Now, the actual viewing experience, let's check it out. We have a special test video with HDR included, so here we go. Okay, so as you can see, the notch is a bit distracting. It can spoil a bit of the fun, it can spoil a bit of the immersion, but I would say the screen is pretty bright and crisp, has pretty wide view angles, and at the same time has very vivid colors that pop out of the screen when you're watching a video. It's, I would say, decent in the sun contrast, but I have to say I've seen more contrast and I've seen brighter screens out there. Still, the viewing experience is satisfying. We also did a bunch of tests, and we actually have them all here. So first we put the screen under the microscope. It's got the pentile matrix pixel arrangement, and then we tested the brightness, achieving a top level of 413 lux units, which is good. It's okay, it goes past our typical limit, but in real life it feels a bit higher. This wouldn't be impressive for a flagship. Usually they go to 600 or 500 lux. Anyways, it beats the Motorola One Action and the Honor View 20, scores below the Xperia 1 and the Huawei P30 Pro. We also have some settings for the screen, which I'm going to show you right now. So you can go here, display, there's the adaptive brightness, blue light filter, night mode, and a screen mode. You can set it to vivid or natural, and you also get a white balance slider. Font size and style, screen zoom, and resolution, which can be set to Full HD Plus by default or WQHD Plus if you activate it. Okay, we're satisfied with the screen. We move further towards the hardware. I'm talking about the Exynos 9820 processor, accompanied by 8 GB RAM and 256 GB of storage. And no, there's no microSD card slot here. Also, there's no trace of lag, so that's good news, in case you were wondering. And we also did a bunch of benchmarks, and we also played Call of Duty Mobile. It ran just fine. Let's check out some of the benchmarks. So in Antutu 8, for example, we're second placed only to the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. We beat the Xperia 5 and a bunch of other phones. In Antutu 7, we're 7th placed. We beat the Xperia 1, Galaxy S10e, iPhone XR, but we got beaten by the Galaxy S10 Plus and the Note 10 Plus and the Zenfone 6. As far as the graphical benchmark is concerned, we're on the 11th spot. We beat the Asus Zenfone 5Z and Xperia XZ2, but those are old. We got the OnePlus 60 and Xperia 5 beating us. So overall, not the best benchmarks in the world, but still a pretty high performing phone. It may be the optimization, it may be the benchmarks. In real life, it should be a bit of a beast, even though I would have liked 12 GB of RAM on board more. So we also did a bunch of temperature tests, so let's see how those panned out. Okay, so we go here, and this is one of them. It reached 33.1 degrees Celsius. This one happens in gaming, so it's okay. In benchmarks, 42.5 degrees Celsius, so it gets a bit overheated in the benchmarks. And here you can see the heat map of the phone. Pretty okay heat dissipation, and the core of the heat is centered below the main camera at the back side. So overall, only the benchmarks will fire it up a lot, otherwise no problem with the heat. On the battery front, the battery is now bigger compared to the Galaxy S10 Plus. That one had a 4100 mAh battery. This one has a 4500 mAh battery. There is wireless charging. You can also juice up other devices. And let's see how it did in our analysis. Okay, so we got the test here. Battery. When it comes to the video playback, we reached as much as 18 hours and 57 minutes, and it places us on the 10th spot all time. So we beat a bunch of other phones. We beat the Moto Z Play, Galaxy S10 Plus, Zenfone Max Pro M2, which was a battery phone, Huawei P30 Pro, not bad. Got beaten by the Galaxy Note 10 Plus and the Xiaomi Mi 90. At the same time, in continuous usage, 12 hours and 29 minutes, superior to the Huawei P20 Pro, which is a bit old right now, Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite, Galaxy Note 10 Snapdragon, OnePlus 7 Pro, not bad, and a bunch of other phones like Huawei P30 Pro. So in the end, we do beat a few flagships. We got beaten by the Galaxy A70, A50, and the Zenfone 6, just to mention a few phones. And if you want to talk about charging, you're at 100% after 1 hour and 28 minutes, which is not bad, and on par with the Vivo Nex Dual Display and the Huawei P20 Pro. And after 1 hour of charging, you're 90%. After 30 minutes of charging, you're at 54%, which is overall not that bad. Okay, other than that, once again, there's also fast charge wireless up to 15 watt and 21 watt wired charge. Of course, there are power modes: high performance optimized, medium power save, and max power save. And I guess it's time to be done with the battery, and let's talk about the acoustics. So we have one speaker here at the top side, very discreet here, and another one here. So stereo speakers in the mix. Now the actual experience is going to be shown to you in a jiffy. So here we go, play a tune. Okay, some conclusions. I would say that the back side of the phone vibrates a lot, maybe more than expected. We have a pretty high volume. We can actually cover a conversation in a small room. Pretty powerful bass, pretty well calibrated speakers. I mean, they're pretty equal in volume. None of them covers the other. So overall, a pretty satisfying experience. We also have Dolby Atmos experience here, and a Dolby Atmos option should be here somewhere. Provided I can find it. Here we go. This is Dolby Atmos. You also have UHQ upscale and all that, but I feel that the Galaxy S10 Plus had a better experience, more satisfying one, warmer experience, and maybe less vibration of the body. We also did a bunch of tests using our special decibel meter. 82.8 decibels were achieved at the top of the phone and 82.4 decibels at the bottom of the phone. These are inferior to the Huawei P30 Pro and the Galaxy S10e, keep that in mind, but superior to the Galaxy S10 Plus. In gaming, we went at 95.1 decibels, which is pretty okay, in my view, superior to the Galaxy S10 Plus and the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, for example, but below the Huawei P30 Pro for that matter. And finally, we're in the camera department. There are a bit of changes from the Galaxy S10 Plus. At the front, for example, there's no longer a combo of 10 and 8 megapixels. It's 10 and time-of-flight camera. At the back side, we have the exact same camera as the Galaxy S10 Plus, but they also added a time-of-flight camera. So there's a 12 megapixel sensor here, the main one, dual pixel, a variable aperture, optical image stabilization, another 12 megapixel shooter with a telephoto lens for 2x optical zoom, a 16 megapixel ultra wide camera, and the time of flight 3D camera plus the LED flash here. We have the ultra slow motion, the super slow motion, 960 frames per second. We have the HDR plus recording, stereo sound recording, 4K 60 frames per second. And I'm going to leave all of this behind just to go to the gallery and show you that we've taken quite a few pictures. Okay, so let me start off with those taken during the day. There's quite a few of them, so I'm not going to insist a lot. So first of all, we played with a landscape scenario. This is the regular shot, this is the zoomed shot, and this is the ultra wide shot. As you can see, your finger may get into the frame a little bit. This is the tip of my finger, so always be careful how you place your hand. I would say that the curvature of the sides isn't that bad and the colors aren't deformed, which is good news, and the zoom is quite impressive for a mere 2x optical zoom. Okay, so the colors were on point, just like the Galaxy S10 Plus, even though I remember that the Galaxy S10 Plus had a slight tendency to sometimes offer too vivid colors, maybe close to overexposure. I am hugely satisfied with the selfies. I love the skin texture, the hair texture, beard texture, the clarity, and of course we also did a bunch of bokeh shots, which came out nicely. These are the regular shots. Once again, very happy with everything selfie related. We also may be aided by that 8 megapixel time of flight camera, and of course we applied those effects, the live focus effects, so this is one of the best out there when it comes to playing with the focus. And once again, more landscape shots, excellent color calibration, even more so than the Galaxy S10 Plus. I feel it can fight on par with any flagship Huawei P30 Pro, Galaxy Note 10 Plus, OnePlus 7 Pro, maybe even the newer OnePluses. More colors here, pretty decent level of detail for a 12 megapixel camera. Nice reds, even the dynamic range is okay, even if there's sun behind your subject. Okay, one thing that bothered me is that when you're trying to take a bokeh using a non-human object, the camera will not always be perfect, so it may not always detect the edges of your object. It prefers faces for live focus and not objects. Other than that, excellent color calibration, clarity, zoom, and even the details are fine, and the dynamic range and exposure have been improved from the Galaxy S10 Plus, or they have been improved on the Galaxy S10 Plus as well by the updates, software updates. And be careful how you hold the camera during the ultra wide capture. So overall, that's it during the day. Let's go to the night time, because we also have some low light samples, quite a few of them. Now, one thing I noticed here is that considering the phones I've been playing with recently, I feel that these are actually a bit darker than what I'm used to. And when you're using the ultra wide camera, there will be a slight deformation of the colors and also of the sides. Now, the night mode is superb when it comes to lighting up scenarios. That's what I noticed, and the camera is able to handle well the sources of light. And even the zoom is fine, as you can see here. This logo on top of a building, it's okay. So overall, a satisfying experience in low light conditions. Having recently tested the Xperia 5, I'm tempted to compare the two. I find that the Xperia 5 may be a bit better, but a tiny bit better, not much than this one. But it holds its own against any flagship out there, minus, well, maybe the brightness, but that can be fixed with the special night mode capture. So that's about it as far as the low light capture is concerned. I guess it's time to talk about the videos. I'm going to make things simpler and only use this player here, because we have 27 videos, and boy, that's a lot. So first of all, stabilization test. Okay, so keep in mind we're descending a set of stairs, and I was tempted to say I'm underwhelmed by the fact that the image flickers a bit. Well, it's actually not that bad, because I have another video where I turned on the super steady mode and things went better. The clarity remains okay, the colors are okay, even the slight change of exposure is discrete. Okay, so now we also have colors in the mix, pretty well calibrated. So keep this in mind. I'm not impressed by the full HD capture, but when you're shooting 4K in 60 frames per second, nobody can argue that there's a better phone out there. Satisfying quality, clarity, colors. My only objection is that the dynamic range is a bit weird at times when there's sky in the background. So we also have selfie video. It's good enough. It's not Galaxy Note 10 Plus vlogger style good enough, but I love the texture of the face. Once again, like I did for the selfies. It may be the fault of the time of flight camera, but the texture comes out perfectly here. At its core, it's the same video experience as the Galaxy S10 Plus, maybe closer to the Note I would say, because it lacks some overexposure here and there. And of course, a beautiful landscape video with the fall colors, quite nice. And always remember, 4K 60 frames per second is the way to go. Now, somehow the low light video capture had me a bit disappointed. Once again, having tested the Xperia 5 recently, I feel that it can do better night video than the Galaxy S10 5G. Just a feeling of mine. Okay, so we're done with the camera. I would say a 10% upgrade from the Galaxy S10 Plus, and it's time to go to the connectivity. So this is a 5G enabled phone, and I've actually done a 5G test of it during the local launch in the network of the carrier Orange, Romania. You can see here 1013 mega per second. That's how much we reach in speed test. So once again, it went past 1 giga per second in download. So that's 5G for you in a nutshell. Now in Romania we actually have 3 carriers capable of 5G, so that's nice. But this is an exclusive to Orange, and Orange already did a test at a local music festival, Untold. Not sure if you've heard of it. Anyways, we also done a bunch of other tests, and we have them here. So things were pretty fine when it comes to these tests. So when it comes to the 4G, we went as high as 191 mega per second. That's pretty impressive. That's 4G connectivity, 191 mega per second downloads and 62.2 mega per second uploads. And we also did the Wi-Fi test. Here we went up to 332 mega per second downloads and 24.9 mega per second uploads. Otherwise, the connectivity is pretty straightforward. There's Wi-Fi dual band, there's an USB-C port at the bottom, there's an audio jack also at the bottom, Wi-Fi A, B, G, N, AC, AX, Bluetooth 5.0, NFC, GPS, GLONASS and Galileo, and the calls were loud and clear, even though the earpiece is a bit on the small side. Now on the software front, I actually don't have much to say. If you've seen any review of mine for a Samsung phone over the past year, you know exactly what to expect from One UI. It was conceived in order to be used with a single hand, it moves all the options towards the bottom, and it has a flatter interface and also more clear, minimalistic, and you can see that from the widgets. It's all white and transparent. We also have the night mode. You also have the Bixby aggregator on the side, and Bixby remains inferior to Google Assistant by quite a margin. We also played with the fingerprint scanner in the screen, and boy, is this an evolution from the Galaxy S10 Plus. It may be the updates, or simply it's a good sensor, and as you can see, it's pretty straightforward and pretty fast when unlocking the screen. Other than that, we have the typical edge area, which I don't feel that anybody uses nowadays. And we also have the multitasking like this, and you can also do split screen or do a pop-up view to have your window on top of the screen while you're doing something else. The Galaxy S10 series has received a series of updates that include features like link to Windows. They also have the live focus video. Yes, we have that, and we actually did a video, didn't show it to you, and we should have it here somewhere. And aside from the live focus video, you can also add cool effects. So that's only one example. You can do bokeh during video, and it's about to receive a whole lot more. The gallery now includes those cool video editing features on the Galaxy Note 10, and the list goes on and on. Other than that, clean user interface and a few useful apps. These are the Samsung apps, SmartThings, Voice Recorder, Samsung Health, Samsung Members. There's also Office here somewhere, there's LinkedIn, there's also Samsung Notes if you're going to take notes, and the game launcher includes special tweaks, customizations, and your games from the device. In a nutshell, that's it. This has been the review of the Galaxy S10 5G. It's time for the pros and cons. It's also high time for me that I showed you our website. So it's time for the pros and cons for this handset. On the pro side, it has a pretty crisp screen, a solid battery, it's got 5G connectivity, it's well built, it's got an excellent fingerprint scanner compared to the Galaxy S10 series, and it's actually receiving upgrades from the Note 10 series. Great 4K videos, excellent pictures during the daytime and the nighttime. One UI is a bit of a winner, especially after the extra updates from the Note 10 series features. It's got wireless charging, IP68 as big pluses, and pretty fast connectivity all around. These are the pros. On the cons, I would say that the low light pictures were a bit darker than what I've seen recently. The low light videos were a bit underwhelming. and there's lots of vibration of the backside during music, and when listening to music at the top volume, the sound may be a bit bothersome. The selfie camera is pretty ugly, the cutout here, and it's very distracting during games because it overlaps on some of the options. Bixby is below rivals, there's no microSD, there's no 12GB RAM version, and well, that's about it in the cons department. This feels like a more sober phone, like a more business phone. If the Galaxy Note 10 was confiscated by vloggers and content editors, this is definitely for the corporate environment. It has your 4G, it has all of your data synced here, it has a pretty intuitive interface, it has quite a bit of power, takes very nice pictures, has a solid battery, and it's future ready on account of having the CPU that's strong and 5G connectivity. Too bad for the lack of microSD, and in my country there are only two other options for 5G which aren't that great: Xiaomi Mi Mix 3 and the Huawei Mate 20X, which is gigantic. So this one is actually the only one to buy if you really want a 5G phone right now in my country. More will come, I'm sure, and this will definitely get cannibalized by Galaxy Note 10 Plus 5G. This is from gsm.com. This has been the review of the Galaxy S10 5G.